Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jose Butron.
I'm Bill Pitts.
We're the owners of Jose Luis Salon in Austin, Texas. This is our third location. We're at the Domain North side. This particular location is up for nomination for Best Salon Design for NAHA. We're going to give you a quick tour today of that. Also, our teen category for NAHA, we're going to be showing what we did, how we did it, and how we came to get to this, the looks that we got to. So right now you're in our lobby of our salon here in Austin, Texas, at Jose Luis. To the right here, we have our makeup area. So we do all our makeups on this side of the room. We have a great little boutique at the same time, and our front desk is here. So one of the things that we did when we designed the salon was to try to keep a minimal in color. Bill, why don't you explain that?
Well, we kind of wanted the salon to have maybe an old shell, kind of a historic look on the inside with pops of contemporary designs. So what we did, we kind of kept the floors old, kind of a French oak. We'll go over the paneling on the walls so you can see that. And then everything that's kind of a furniture design is like the shelving is contemporary, our front desk is very contemporary, and the backdrops. So we'll kind of show you through that. If you look, maybe I can show you on the panels on the walls here, we kind of did a look that maybe looks a little more French or has kind of some molding, things like that. But what's cool about these walls is we have huge ceilings, and that was going to be a problem with sound. So what's neat about these walls and that paneling is that they're actually padded inside. So it gives a little bit of a cushion for some sound prevention on that one.
So our front lobby, when we created this chandelier here, actually it's a recycled piece. This was an old chandelier we had at one of our locations, and we decided to recycle the crystal, and we kind of made this chandelier on the fly and just went up there and screened them up, what looked good, what didn't look good. We also added this wallpaper to the top of it, which is one of the looks that I was totally against, but it's now one of my favorite things in a salon. So this is our front lobby. We'll go through the back part of the salon. So here is the back side of that, the wall with the front desk. This is part of our retail area as well. So we wanted a wall that would separate the front from the back, but still have it open and still be inviting. And this kind of helped to create that and yet give it a little privacy.
And that way too, the stylist can recommend a pair of products here, take them around to the front. They might have more things that they want to purchase in the boutique.
So if you follow us this way, is our cutting room. We have 20 stations here. We have the granite countertops on there. We have the self-lit mirrors. We have the hyper quartz, which I absolutely love here. And one of the things that we did, it was try to find a color that we could use that would, so we matched the color from the front desk, and we did this back wall in this beautiful cobalt blue, which is, again, one of my favorite pieces of the salon. So it's a very exciting, it's a pop of color which we were looking for.
And gotta love the acrylic chairs.
Yeah, gotta love the acrylic chairs, you know. So we went through a lot of research about how to use the stations. By the way, they're also all on wheels. And so when we have a big event, we move them all out. We can have a dance in here, or we can have a dinner, we can have our meeting classes, whatever we want to do, we want to do. So I also want to introduce you to two of our key people. They're going to kill me for doing this, but I'm going to open the door and I'm going to introduce you to Nicole and Kendra, who basically run our lives here.
And here they are.
Hi guys, see, they're on film. They're going to kill us. But they help us run our whole entire business. So I know they're going to kill me, but I wanted you to meet them. So let's come a little bit further back. We have another section here, and there's Mike Jones back there. Mike, say hi, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Mike just didn't finish on time.
So here's the rest of the salon. We have some other areas back there, our break room area, our bathrooms and stuff. This is our shampoo area here, which we wanted to create a little bit of a privacy as well. So we created these acrylic walls to help with the privacy, but yet feel like you're still part of the salon.
And all the lights are dimmable, so you can have it very dark.
You can have a very romantic shampoo room if you like. You know, so.
Do you want to show them the dryer?
Oh yeah, we have a dryer area here. We also have a processing room here that our clients can process in. It's a nice, quiet, intimate area. We can dim the lights for them. They can watch a TV program, whatever they'd like to do, they can do in here.
And the chandelier in the center, we kind of, if you look at it, it's a little strange. I don't know if Dahlia can pick that up, but it has kind of that molding effect that's on the walls as well.
And the walls in here are a pewter metallic in here. And we have a pewter metallic walls in here, we have a gold metallic walls in the front, and we have the cobalt blue. So we'll walk back towards the front of the salon so that you can see the windows and how they take such a large part of the lighting that we have in our locations here. So one of my favorite things about the salon is the front windows here. So Delia, if you don't mind showing the front windows, that allows us for a lot of natural light. It gives us a lot of street visibility, and we are absolutely loving this location, and it's done so well. And we're so proud that NAHA has selected our salon to be in the top 5 salon design. We're thrilled about it, we're excited about it, and we're so happy that the Hair Nerds let us present our salon to the rest of the world.
We can show you around.
Yeah. So now Bill's going to take off, and I'm going to introduce Teresa. Come on in, Teresa. She's our artistic director. This is Teresa Romero, and we're going to talk about how we got our NAHA look. We have a team category that we're in. It's the first time we've ever entered. Extremely nervous about doing it, but we're so excited that we did it, and I think we did a great job with the team. So we're going to talk a little bit about the NAHA road that we took to get here. Okay? So.
Here we go, guys. So the NAHA journey, guys, it takes a good year or more sometimes to plan these things, and it's something you have to do from the heart. You have to feel passionate about this. NAHA is something that we both have wanted to do, and we've talked about for so long in our careers, and we finally just made it happen. We're like, just book a date. Now we're committed. Just book a date.
I've been doing here for 39 years. I've never done this. Teresa, you've been doing here
35 years.
and neither one of us have done this, and it's been on our bucket list to do. And Teresa was like, pick a date, if you commit to it, we have to do it, and that's exactly what we did. And so here we are now.
And the first thing we did is actually hired a photographer, because now we felt committed because we made a commitment to someone else. So we were like, we got to shoot something. So this is the process.
This is kind of the process that we went through. We came up with a couple of inspirations that we had. We played with different materials. We played with yarns. Endless discussions, as you can see. This little piece right here was basically the whole inspiration of the whole entire collection that we did here. So as you can tell, you know, we had all kinds of meetings. This are one of our very first shows one of our first collections that we did to see how cohesive it was, and right away we knew we weren't on the right page. It's like, I for sure didn't like mine at all. I started over, I can't tell you how many times. There was adjustments that were made, there was color adjustments that were made, but it was a process.
It's a process. Yeah, there were several meetings throughout the year where we built our idea off of this, which was inspired by the idea of an organic movement, something that was regal and strong and majestic, which ended up becoming our collection name, which was Majestic. We just didn't know that in the beginning, but we wanted to capture that empowerment and that strong feeling that women have and can capture, and show it not only in an individual photo, but show it in a collection as well. That all of those words led to these dots that you see
right here, exactly.
And as Jose was saying, this was one of our first meetings that we had throughout the year, and we found out that we were all close, but we weren't there yet. I believe we met a total of probably like 5 times before we actually had our collection on the table, before we could even put it on a model. And all these pictures that you see here, guys, these are all the team members that were involved. So it wasn't just Jose and I, it was also Teresa Prisabella, it was Francesca Bryant, and it was Tyler Cochran, and as well as a plethora of other Jose Luis Salon employees that helped us in this journey that you can see them all.
And we're going to go through everyone's look one by one so that you can see the process of how we got there.
And we'll also discuss Vincent Roberts. Today Vincent is our designer, and then Nico Nordstrom, our photographer. So we'll have a little bit of words for them as well.
A word of advice when doing this: you need to communicate with your photographer.
Yes.
You need to communicate with your designer.
Yes.
We were fortunate enough that we could meet with them in our preliminary meetings, and they were tremendous help in our direction if we were going the right direction or not. You know,
Yeah.
we asked the photographer, how is this going to photograph? Is this going to be seen? Is this texture going to be visible enough? Does there need to be more contrast in the color? Then you talk to the designer, which was Benson, and it's like, okay, this dress looks like it was made for this design. This dress looks like it was made for this design. So the collaboration between, you know, Nico, our photographer, and Benson, the stylist, was critical to our success on getting it, but it also pushed us to the point of our design that we needed to step it up. We needed to push it a little bit further. And sometimes when you go too far, you have to learn how to edit and come back. So we went all the way around with this. You know?
There were times that you redid yours 5 times, I did mine 4 times. We all had to embrace editing.
One of the things that to help with expense that we did is that we practiced with yarn versus with hair first. So we got to get pieces of yarn. We practiced the technique, different sizes of yarn, different widths of yarn that created different sizes of knots. And that helped us to push the texture and the technique that we were looking for without going through a big expense of buying hair immediately and not knowing whether it was going to work or not. So.
And we could check balance and proportion and how it would translate onto the final look. And our coworkers, if we didn't have our model, our coworkers would wear the pieces that we created to, you know, again, check the balance and proportion, because it might look good sitting on the stand, but you have to have someone standing up. You have to check out the entire body lines to see how that's going to translate. Take pictures on your phone. Oh my gosh, we have so many pictures on our phones. And again, how does this translate?
Because what you're seeing doesn't really translate in a photograph.
Yeah.
So the photograph is going to be what you're looking for.
So you want to look at one of the first looks?
Sure, sure.
Let's do that.
Here we go. This would have to be the first look. Okay.
It is the first
It's
look.
the first look. Okay, so this is my model, Arbany. This is actually my look that I did. And I can't even, Delia, who's behind the camera, was on my team, but I can't tell you how many times I threw it out. I can't tell you how many cuss words I did.
I can tell you how many times you threw it out. It's 5 times.
5
yes.
times. It's like I started over 5 times. Yeah. So it evolved in a shape like this first, then it evolved to this color, and then it evolved to this color, and then it just kept going and it kept going, and we ended up evolving to this color with the browns and the golds and the blonde because it complemented the dress so well.
And I think it's important people know that this piece is what anchored the collection. So I feel like Jose was feeling a little extra pressure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Only because it's what anchored the collection. So again, NAHA tells us that each photo should stand on its own, but it should stand well as a collection, but not one photo stand out over the other. And we needed that missing link, and what we created here is with our missing link for our collection.
And I have to admit, I mean, this look did not evolve till that day. You know, I had this braid that I made, I had this piece that I made with our knots, I had an extra piece of hair. I had no idea exactly how it was going to come out, but in working with her hair, I realized that she had this beautiful natural veil that I could use. Instantly that got added to the look. I had the piece on her head and I thought, I need more, so I added this rope braid to it. Then I had another piece, oh, now I can add another piece to the back. So this evolved that morning. This look did not start out to look like this, and it ended up looking like this. And I'm so happy that Arbany, my model, was so good at doing this. And you can tell, we did some anchoring, we did some braid work on the top to anchor the hair piece too. Being very involved with, you know, how the photo shoot is going, you have to look at it. We had a great team that helped us put this all together. Salon was my makeup artist that helped me in my looks. Here's the backside of Arbany, but that's our photographer. But it was a great collaboration of everyone in general to create this look.
And I think it's really important to note here, when you're looking for a photographer, you want a photographer that can shoot hair, not just photographic, pretty photos, which is beautiful to have, but they need to understand how to the concept of capturing hair and how to create that lighting. And it's about the model, but it's also about the hair. It's about the wardrobe, so lighting really matters. And also a photographer that'll shoot tethered for you, and that's what we're doing here in this photo. Is we can actually see each image as it would be shot, and we immediately knew if we liked it, if we didn't like it, if we needed to adjust something. So these are things that I would suggest, you know, you look for with your photographer, and even do a test shoot.
Yeah, do a test shoot, yeah.
We did a test shoot before we even shot the real shoot, if you will. which helped our designer make adjustments as well as our photographer make adjustments. And I think if we wouldn't have done the test shoot, we wouldn't have come out to the images that we did come out with. You know, we learned a lot on the test shoot.
So, I mean, going through your look, then you have, 4 other people that you're working with. And the hardest part of all of this is that everybody is on the same page and everybody's on a cohesive page. The other part of that is that you have to work with people that can let their ego go out the door. Because you are working with people who are very talented, you are working with people with very strong aesthetics and how they want it to look, but nobody wants to be the weak link out of the 5. So it's very important that you're able to communicate and get a team that communicates with you and understands that we need to make this adjustment because this is not going to work with the rest of the looks. So, and we had that team. We had the dream team, basically.
And we could each tell each other, like, no, I just don't think that's going to work. And we could tell them why with confidence, which made the huge difference for us to put this together. Otherwise, we couldn't have come to a commonality that we came to.
Yeah, exactly. So this is one of our looks. We're going to show you another look. So this one is Teresa's look, Teresa Romero, who's right here in front of us. And again, evolving in the process, you can tell this is a very early preliminary shot. These are pieces that were starting to be made. This is the skull cap of which she based her foundation with. And here's a little playtime at the photography studios. This is Benson, the designer.
So to create this look, again, this was very preliminary, but we were playing with the idea of movement. We learned a lot. Movement's hard to capture, at least the movement that we were wanting.
Yes.
This Lindsay here helping me with knots. Lindsay Wright is another master stylist that we have here in the salon, and I couldn't have done this without her. She was my right hand, left hand, my brain, my sanity. Yeah. She kept me grounded, and my eye for detail.
And this is a picture of Lindsay right here.
Lindsay right here. And what we chose to do is actually make a full wig. So this is the actual piece here. And it started from a skull cap, and it's an actual full wig. We decided that would be better, especially for shoot day. And these knots are actually built up on each other. So my form wasn't a box or a piece of foam or felt or anything. I actually just kept building until I wanted that organic, regal feel. So that's why I built each knot, on top of each other. Went through tons of hair, tons of conversation. I was like, Jose, I really want this red hair. What do you think? And but I waited. I didn't want to impulse buy, but ended up getting that red hair. And I can't say enough. And then down here with the makeup, the makeup applications here, this was equally as important. It was important that we had that clean, flawless skin, a natural sculpt to the face. We didn't want to look over sculpted. Yeah. We wanted to look like this as a real person. And the eyes were distinct, but not overly done. We weren't trying for that full smoky look. Again, these are regal, empowered women. They're queens, if you will. Yes. They're very majestic, and they stand beautifully on their own. They don't have to be overdone.
So you can tell by Teresa's piece here that there's hair, there's different sizes to add the texture. We use this knotting technique for the whole entire design for our collection. Not that these knots haven't been used, we use them our way, in different materials. And we're going to demo how we did this. And so that way you can see how we came about and how the different sizes really create the depth and the texture, and then using the different colored hair and using a little bit of a yarn in here that has a little bit of a sparkle, which captured really well on camera, and it also gave us a really nice pop to it as well. So when we were doing Teresa's look, Teresa and I think, were one of the last ones to actually finalize what our look was going to be. There's a couple other people that started off the bat and knew exactly where they were going, which I was extremely jealous about, but it just put that much more pressure on us.
And we can do this, though. Hang in there. We can do this. Don't stop.
So a lot of grueling hours. You have to dedicate what you're doing to this, and this has got to be your number one priority. If not, it's going to show in the end result. So.
And even the day of the shoot, guys, when I showed up, I looked at Lindsay and I was like, it's not enough. We need to do more knots. And I got that look that all the people working on the shoot were like, oh my gosh, no more knots. No, that's like a bad 4-letter word in the salon, knots. You don't say knots very often. But it did, you know, even though I thought I wanted to shoot it from the front, you know, I just, experience has taught me, even though you think you want to shoot a certain angle, be prepared from all angles, because the angle that you go with may be the one that you didn't think you wanted. And that's exactly what happened to me. I ended up more with the profile, which was actually, at the end I said, let's shoot the profile. Let's smooth the hair and shoot the profile. And as soon as we saw, I was like, that's it. That's the shot.
Tracy, you brought up a good point, because you have to take in mind when you're making this design, what is your best shooting angle with this?
Yes.
And Teresa's right, you have to have more than one option, because it may not photograph the way you want to in a full frontal. You might have to do a 3/4. So you have to be very careful to make sure that you can move your design enough around to get more than just one look from it.
And thank goodness for the team.
Yeah.
We jumped in that morning, we made it happen, and we finished out this beautiful
Yeah.
profile. And I gotta say, of all the photos, when we saw that one, we knew that was the favorite.
Well, to give you an idea, this
For
was
this
the end look, and if you look at this look, here I am with a blow dryer, and Lindsay with a blow dryer. We're trying to make the hair do something it's just not going to do. And then when we just realized that the best look is what her hair was going to do, we backed off the wind machine and we went straight for a much sleeker, cleaner look, which I think is absolutely fabulous. So I'm so glad we ended up with this profile, with this look, and her ability to be able to have a different look, but being able to change the position of her was excellent. I thought this was a great look. It was a great anchor to our whole team.
Are we ready to see another
Yeah,
look?
let's do that.
All right. We have Tyler Cochran's look up next. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Often we wonder where we are.
Yes,
right?
yes. Okay, so this is Tyler's look, Tyler Cochran. I'm a little bit jealous of Tyler, okay, because Tyler had no sweat equity of it. He knew exactly
He
what he was
nailed it from the
doing.
beginning.
He nailed it from day one. He came out with this piece right here, and the only criticism we had, or advice we had, said, Tyler, make it bigger. So he added this top portion to that, and it turned out beautifully. He never changed his from the beginning. And I changed, like I said, I changed mine at least 5 times. And
actually, Tyler's influenced all of it
totally.
and gave us further direction
Totally.
of
I mean,
how the collection was going to go.
the way he put it together, the color combinations that he used, the fluidity of the knots, but then the hard lines of the hair that he did there, I thought was beautiful. I think it was one of the looks too, a strong look for us that added a different element
Yes.
to the whole entire team.
And this look also inspired our designer as well as our photographer. In fact, when they got this photo, they're like, do we have to wait? And I'm like, yes, we have to wait. We can't share our photos. And it was kind of a joke because they couldn't wait to share our photos, but in particular, they really fell in love with this one. I mean, I think Tyler just brought it all together and nailed it from the very, influenced by different Japanese artists to create that minimalistic feel, streamlined. So kudos, Tyler.
Yeah,
I mean, this
very
is beautiful.
The dress that Benson designed was so appropriate to his look.
Yes.
The gunmetal, dress, with the wings on it, and all the little,
coolness of the tones.
yes, the coolness of the tones I thought was tremendous. And Paige was unbelievable.
Oh, Peyton, yes, Peyton.
I'm sorry.
Peyton is an amazing young lady. And I highly recommend her as a model because she's an amazing young lady to work with. So this was pulled off and designed because Peyton was part of the inspiration. So I
very
think
good.
it's a beautiful marriage of design.
Yeah, it was excellent. And he was one of the first ones to use the blonde.
Yes.
Because we all used brunettes and golds, and Francesca, the next one we'll show you, it also used blonde, and we'll show her look. But again, this is Tyler's look. Very, very cool, very intricate part of our whole collection.
Alrighty, guys.
Okay.
This is Francesca Bryant, another amazing master stylist here at Jose Luis Salon. She's been with you a long time,
Long
right?
time.
Yes.
Over 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
She has such an amazing, beautiful collection. We got a lot to say about this. And right away, she knew she wanted to build a form. She wanted something very regal, almost like Madonna, childlike feeling. She wanted to capture that power, almost warrior feel, but not full-on warrior because our collection wasn't that. And she actually redid her look a couple of times before we got to this final look. And she was one of the ones that Jose was talking about, where we really encouraged, build your look with yarn. See how it looks, see how it translates. And each thing she brought was beautiful. And it was part of the process that we all had to do, as she did as well, to get to the final collection. I believe this photo down here really illustrates how well her team was working with her, and just the magnitude that this piece has and the power that it has. This particular dress that Francesca is wearing was made specifically for Madeline. Madeline Wells is the model in this, and Benson, being the amazing person that he is, actually made a brand new gown for her, which was inspired from the hair that Francesca did.
So also you can see in the picture, this is Ashley. This was part of Francesca's team, Ashley Wilson. As part of the team member, you're going to be asked to do all kinds of things. So this was Ashley's contribution as well. This is Grace, who's also part of Francesca's team. She was a huge part of the makeup as well as putting this together and helping Francesca and supporting Francesca. So you can see it takes quite a few people to put 5 looks together. But again, you have to start somewhere. This is where we started, and this is where we ended up, And I love what I love about this picture is I love the strength of this picture. I love I like the texture to it, and I love these little light, wispy pieces that just soften the whole entire look. I thought
It kept a realism to it.
I thought it was a great touch to what Francesca was doing. And so don't be afraid to add a little element there that you don't think will work, but you never know how it's going to work. And in Francesca's case, I thought it was an excellent choice.
Yeah. And again, I think that was another discovery where we thought it was going to be, or where she thought she wanted to be. We actually tried a few things, and we actually went with something with the wisdom.
Yeah.
And once we saw it on screen, we're like, that's it.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
So
It was already beautiful. Amazing.
It just took it to another level.
level.
The smallest things will take it to a whole different level.
So pay attention to details. And again, that's why shooting with a photographer that's tethered to a computer is so important, because you can see the details.
All right.
All right, guys, we have one more to look at before we're going to show you how we made these, guys. So we got one more to look at. And I would say this is our most majestic of majestic.
Yeah.
This piece by Teresa
So
Prisbilla.
Teresa Prisbilla did this look. It also, she kind of, you can see from here the direction she was going. No color choice at this point. This is strictly done with yarns, trying to figure out shapes, and that ends up with this particular finished look, which I thought was incredible. So the funny thing is, when you start there, you start here at the, as a preliminary. You're at the photo shoot, which is now over here, and her hair's down in front of her face, and we just kept evaluating. It's like, oh, that looks good, that looks good. I said, then Teresa goes, well, if I just put it all back? I said, well, let's try it. And then she goes, what if I just put a piece of it hanging in the front? I said, well, let's try it. And you can see,
was it.
yeah, and that was it. It evolved into this particular look, which again was not planned, but it happened, and it was one of the best final touches in Teresa's shoot. This is a very, very strong look, but it's also very soft in the same way. Again, I think adding that different texture, adding those soft little elements to it, and all of us had that somewhere in our designs. Not only did we have the knots that we used, the colorway that we used, but there was always a little bit of something that was a little bit of softness to it, flow to it, that I think that helped with our looks.
And that stayed true to our original concept, where we wanted to capture a soft, natural, organic sort of movement, but not be overpowering with it. And the silhouette that's created here is simply amazing. And the model Tiffany here is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought she looks stoic and strong, but she also looks kind and obtainable. And we were trying to tell a picture with each story. That's backwards, isn't it? We were trying to tell a story with each picture. And I hope that you guys can see the story or see yourself in one of our pictures that we created. And this is how hands-on our designer was. This is Catherine Catherine Batts, and she is amazing. I have to give her a prompt while we're here, because she was on set, as you can tell, on her knees, making sure every detail was perfect, along with Vincent, to make sure every detail was perfect. And this whole collection, even Teresa's, yeah. So this is how much in the dedication. You can see the amount of materials, and Teresa's form actually.
I mean, she actually drew hers out.
She did.
Yeah, she knew the direction she was going. She was a beautiful artist. She had her phone piece.
Yes.
She knew the direction she was going with. I think what's amazing to me is that you can have such a simple technique when we're going to demonstrate, but to create such magnificent pieces from a small technique. So it just goes to show you that starting with something small can lead to something big.
And there was a lot of texting going on, late at night as we're doing this.
Yes.
And we all still worked our full-time jobs and had our
Yes.
families and we lived our
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
So the point to that is it's doable, guys. If this is something that's important to you, I can't encourage you enough. Find the time, make the time. The time's there. You just have to find how to make it work.
Yeah.
So let's see how these
Yes,
knots are made. You want to do?
Let's try this out.
All right. We have our lovely model.
So the way we started out with is we started out with pieces of yarn, and here's a piece here that we'll demonstrate with also here. So you can go to not a very expensive route to try what you're trying to do with other fabrics other than hair, and we played with this for weeks and weeks and weeks until we got the looks that we were looking for.
And we started by either hot gluing or using hair glue wefts together. So the more layers of wefts, the thicker your knot or bigger your knot's going to be. This is just 2 wefts together.
I will tell you too that when using the wefts like this, if you're going to attempt this, buy the one that's already curly.
Yes.
Because that will help you tremendously with
Create that structure.
create that knot, because it's already in that formation for you.
And this is one of the knots where we included a little bit of the sparkle and a little bit of this yarn, and it creates this sort of shape. So let's show them how we did this,
Perfect.
and then we'll show them how we put it together.
So I am going to do
I think I'm going to do this.
a piece of, this is an auburn piece of hair. This is the sparkly gold that we use in the hair as well, just to create a little pop of color there. And this is a hair web that's doubly webbed. I'm going to fold it over to get a little bit more bulk from that. So I have 3 combinations of hair here to create one single knot. So again, this will create a smaller knot because it's not as much hair to it. When you start adding a lot of hair, you can get these really nice, big, full rolls to it. I gently would just start to twist. And as I'm twisting, I'm letting this get as tight as it gets. And it starts to buckle on itself. And when it starts to buckle on itself, that's when you know that you're going to create the knot that you're looking to get in your look.
This sort of look.
It'll be actually more this size because it's not enough hair to it, but you're going to want these small textures throughout your look.
Okay guys, I'm doing the same thing. I actually just took the weft, a different piece of yarn, the same gold sparkle. I'm going to fold it over kind of like a sandwich. And it's really important when you start your twist that you get that twist tight right at the base to begin with. If you don't get that tight twist at the base, what's going to happen is it's going to unravel. And I'm going to do a few turns here and I'll show you. See how that's really tight at the base? If the base is loose, it's just not going to stay as well. And every now and again, you need to kind of, flip that hair, that combination back around. Because if you just simply twist, this all begins to get tangled.
So here is my piece that I have just twisted and twisted. And you can see it's twisted tight. You saw how much hair it was, but this is what it ends up looking like. So if you want a bigger texture, you're gonna have to use a lot more hair. You're gonna let it buckle into itself, and that's gonna create your knot. And so that's how you get this particular piece. What we would typically do at this point is I would use a hot glue gun the end of that, and then you have this that sits on top of it, and then you would then add this to your texture or to your piece that you're working on. Just to give you an idea, this is just a simple box top. You can use anything as a foundation.
Yes.
We just use this. And Teresa prepared some of them so that you could see what would happen to. So once you get that look, I mean, what we also did is we used hairpins to actually place it in to make sure that's where we wanted it. And I built a whole entire piece using nothing but hairpins. And then I could, if I liked it there, then I would glue it there. But it gave me the ability to move, and I kept adding and kept adding and kept adding, and just used my hairpins to stabilize it so I could get the look that I was looking for.
And it's at this point that it's really important, guys, that as you begin to construct, that you get your phone out, you take some pictures, take a look at it, zoom in, see what it looks like when you zoom in. You're going to learn where you need to edit. For instance, like these pieces haven't been trimmed. We need to come back and trim little bits off of here. You know, your photographer will love you if you get some of those details off of there for them. But as you go through and construct it first, because once you add that hot glue, as Jose was saying, you're married to it.
You're married to it.
You got to keep it. So
I'm demonstrating with a piece of, this is actually yarn now, not hair. But it's going to give me a completely different look for the fact that it's going to give me a completely different size of knot, because obviously the texture of this yarn is way thicker than the hair I was using. But again, you see it like this, and then when it buckles down over it, that's the knot that's now created, which is a completely different size and a completely different texture. The combination of the size of knots that we use, the combination of color, the combination of materials is what gives you that high textured finish at the end. And now it's a matter of your creative juices thinking, okay, how big do I want this? How small do I want this? How much of one color do I want versus another color that you want? And you'll start to, when you, and Teresa's right, once you start taking pictures of it, you'll realize that it's looking too flat, now you need some more red. Or it's looking too red, now you need some more brown. Taking pictures is critical along the way so that you can see where you're at with your design.
and the little details like the veining, I discovered this needed veining because without this little detail, the veining through here, the tiny twist, it just looked like one color. It didn't have distinction, or it didn't have the 3D shape and form that we were going for. And just to let you guys know, if you are going to do this on a mannequin, plastic wrap your mannequin. Otherwise you're going to be gluing stuff to your girl. So that's why the plastic wrap's under there and the wig cap sits over the top of it.
So again, just using a simple techniques like knots can create an unbelievable collection like we just did. We committed to it. Once we figured out the texture, then it was just about design. It was about the cohesiveness of the look. It was the story behind the looks.
Yeah.
The whole entire thing came together as we evolved. You know, we thought we had a direction as we were going.
Yes, we did.
And then we did, but it evolved into something completely different, I think, from our initial starting point.
It's the same and different. We have elements of what we started with, but I think it took us in a direction that really pushed us as artists. All of us, we really grew. We grew as a team. Encouraged the team competition very much. If you're a salon person out there and you want to put a salon team together, please do it, guys. It's just amazing how much it did for us as a team as well, and pushed us as artists. And here we are. I mean, I can't believe we are NAHA finalists in the salon team category and a salon design. So kudos. I mean, you guys designed.
Well, I have to brag a little bit about my team before we sign off. I mean, Francesca, Teresa, Tyler, Teresa, and then all the people that also made it happen with Ashley and Grace and Lindsay and Delia behind the camera, and Claire and Rachel Carr with makeup. There's on and on.
Sloan, yes.
Sloan was a big part on my team to help with the makeup.
And Tyler's assistant.
Sarah Adelaide.
Sarah Adelaide, yes.
So I know I'm forgetting some names, and I apologize. We could not have done this without everybody's help. So I appreciate it very much.
Yes. And let's take a look at what we created here. You know, it's kind of like,
yes.
you bake up the cookies and you take them out of the oven. Let's see what we did.
Yes. So this is our little box that we created our little look from. And now you can see how something as simple as what we just did could actually transform a whole entire look and give you something that you didn't think you could get to.
And our inspiration here is just a really quick, like little pill box
Yeah.
sort of hat,
Yeah.
a little bit of a vintage feel, and we can finish this out, get this in,
Yeah.
and
She's ready to go.
she's ready to go.
So again, thanks to the team. Thank you so much to the Heritage for allowing us to do this.
Yes, thank you, Hair Nerds.
We're so excited that we got this opportunity, and I guess we will see everybody at NAHA.
We will
hopefully
see yeah.
on the stage.
We'll see everyone in Vegas
Yeah.
from the stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Hair Nerds. We love you and we follow you. We love you and we can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for
Thank
the
you,
opportunity.
Bye, guys.